So I watched this really insane movie called Cabin Fever. This movie is number 19 on Rotten Tomatoes' top 100 worst movies list. And after watching the trailer, I had to give it a watch. I'm going to spoil this movie for you, so if you haven't seen it, don't worry. Don't spend your time watching it. I'll just spoil it for you. The movie's about a group of 5 college students who decide to go out to this cabin in the woods to have some fun for the weekend. Before they get to their cabin, they stop at this little store and they encounter this little boy with this weird bunny mask on. Now, this is the first of many red flags that they should probably turn around and leave. But one of the characters named Paul decides to walk up to this kid to shake his hand, and the kid just bites his hand for no reason. And apparently this is not the first time this kid has bitten somebody, because his dad, who is the worst actor in this movie, walks out and reminds him not to bite people that are visiting. But apparently it isn't a big deal because Paul doesn't even really care that he got bitten. They just kind of move on with their day. The next major red flag is that this random dude walks up to them and tells them to be careful in the woods and there's a bunch of diseases going around. He tells them that there's Lyme disease and ticks going around and that some hikers were in the woods last week and never made it out and got really sick. They finally get to this beautiful cabin, and when they get in the cabin, their next major red flag pops up. When they get to the cabin, they find a note that says, if you come here for fun, you've come to the wrong place. But one of the characters named Bert doesn't really care about what's going on or what the note says. He just wants to play GTA Black Ops 2 and smoke. And Bert must be a 2 times prestige master in Black Ops 2 because Broden brought an entire AR to the trip. And bro is reckless with this AR. He almost deletes Paul. After almost deleting Paul, Bert decides to go into the woods and play real life Black Ops 2 with his AR. While Bert is playing real life Black Ops in the woods, he encounters this dude that looks like his skin is burning, and the guy's literally screaming for Bert to help him. But obviously Bert does not help him, and he goes back to his cabin but doesn't tell the rest of the group what he saw. The same guy that Bert met in the woods while he was playing Call of Duty comes back to their cabin to ask for help. But the guy recognizes Bert and they quickly shut the door on him. And because our group won't help this poor guy, he attempts to steal their car that they came in. But Bert, Jeff, and Paul all start to panic and they destroy the car more than this guy would have. For some reason, one of the guys gets a bat and destroys the windshield. I don't know why he did that. They realize they made a dumb decision by destroying this car because they have to find some way to get out of these woods. Anyways, Jeff sets the guy on fire and the guy ends up running away, and we never see him for the rest of the movie, so we really don't know what happened to him. But this encounter really impacted one of the girls named Karen, who's really stressed about this. I mean, she's saying that she's hearing his screams every time she closes her eyes. But at this point, Karen is acting a bit weird and she keeps drinking this water, and the movie just keeps focusing on her drinking this water. After calming down Karen, Paul walks outside and encounters the second worst performance in this movie, and it's easily Cop Winston. Yeah, this encounter was really hard to watch, but she did promise them a tow truck will come and help them tomorrow evening. Fast forward, we notice that Karen is not really doing much but just laying in bed sleeping, and she starts to look really sick. And while Paul's trying to help her, they start to kind of do their thing, but then they realize that Karen is actually infected. So to not spread the disease, they lock Karen up in this room. And I guess no one learned from Karen because now Bert is drinking this water and now he's getting sick. Jeff notices that Bert is looking a bit sick and tries to press him. Bert gets really stressed and takes off with their vehicle to get help. And that boy Jeff is done with all these people, so he takes his beers and just goes off somewhere random in the woods. Bert stops at the store that we saw in the beginning of the movie with the creepy kid with the mask and the bad acting dad. Bert gets bitten by the kid, and the bad acting dad notices that he is looking a bit sick. So the bad acting dad and his 2 random friends that we've never met start chasing Bert in his beat up vehicle. And while all of this nonsense is going on, Paul and Marcy decide to have sex on the kitchen counter. Why? I don't know. And I guess it was so good that Paul left these huge scratch marks on Marcy's back. Marcy is now infected with this disease, and she gets deleted by this infected dog that kept popping up at their cabin. And while Paul's trying to go get help for the rest of the group, this random infected person that's just chilling in the water tackles him. And this is when Paul notices that the water is the reason that everyone is getting infected. Fast forward, Bert gets deleted by the bad acting dad and his 2 random friends. Karen begs Paul to delete her, so he sets her on fire. Paul is now by himself, so he goes in the woods to look for help, and he sees Cop Winston that he met earlier. The sheriff orders Winston to delete any of the kids that she sees in the cabin because they all have the disease. And for some reason, she lets Paul go. But Jeff returns back to the cabin after being gone for all of this nonsense, and she deletes him. And so now Paul is the last one left in the group, and the movie just ends with him sitting by a tree and the random creepy kid with the mask behind him. Yeah, this movie definitely deserved that 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, man. This movie was just so all over the place. It's not good.